starting with we'll be starting with Coach Britt Lawrence, who is the varsity coach for Jefferson High School girls volleyball, as well as a tennis coach. But we're talking volleyball tonight. We also have Coach Stephanie Price, who is the head JV coach, also at Jefferson High School. And then we have Professor James Howard, who focuses on biomechanics and I forgot the other thing.
Coaching. He does it all.
Coaching, body movement.
He's good at all of it.
So yes. So what we're going to do is we have the pleasure of having Coach Britt with us, actually dialing in from Hawaii. She made time for this. We're so grateful. So we're going to start with her, and then we will move over to Coach Stephanie, and then round it out with James, and then Charles will close us out. So what we want to ask, especially the coaches, from the coach perspective, not only are you coaches, but you're teachers in the school. Tell us what young girls can do that didn't make the team this year, what they can be doing to work toward making the team next season, and also what they can do with their mindset. Maybe give us some ideas of things that can help them to really shift that mindset so they don't get stuck in that disappointment. So Coach Britt, would love to hear from you.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for hosting us and providing this opportunity to really just share some insights. Athletes and parents, thank you for joining us. We love that your attendance is here because it's a direct reflection of your love and your passion for the sport of volleyball. So we just want you to know that tryouts were incredibly difficult this year. It was some of the best talent that we've seen since I've taken over the program in 2016, which is fantastic for the program, but it made some really tough decisions. So keep that in mind. But more importantly, I just want to give each and every single athlete a shout out for being a part of our story, for really showcasing your talents, for putting yourself out there, stepping outside of your comfort zone. We see you. We see your hard work. We see your talent. We see your grit. And most importantly, we see your heart. So keep continuing to train. And with that being said, I hope you all give yourselves a high five because that was tough. It was very tough for all the athletes that showed up. It was very tough for all the coaches that had to make some important decisions. So with that being said, we have come up with 5 different, so what, now what do you need to do in order to put yourself in a stronger position? And it's categorized between uncontrollable and controllable. So within our coaching staff, we're firm believers in controlling the controllables and just letting loose of those uncontrollables. And that's exactly what my right-hand girl, Coach Price, is going to talk to you about today. So Coach Price is one of our varsity assistants. She's also the head JV coach at Jefferson Volleyball. And she's going to kind of walk you through how we evaluated each and every single athlete and what's next, athletes. What should you do? How can you focus on controlling the uncontrollables?
Wonderful. Oh, great. Stephanie, you unmuted.
All right, Britt, thanks for the introduction. Are you going to sign out here or are you going to hang out for a minute?
I have about 2 minutes before I need to sign out.
Okay, well, I'll make the little introduction quick. Like Britt said, thank y'all for coming in and listening to what we have to say. Echoing again everything that Coach Britt has said. I know our program specifically at Jefferson, we saw a lot of growth from people who have been coming to tryouts or people who just showed up and this was their first year trying out. That maybe we just know them through school or through other social factors. So we see the sport of volleyball just in general growing. And I think that's across the board, any high school, any middle school program that you go to. I always tell people that I didn't start volleyball until high school because there was no such thing as middle school volleyball. There was no rec department. So the growth that we've seen, I'm 27, so this was 10, 15 years ago. Like that's crazy. But yeah, so uncontrollable factors and controllable factors are something that we talked a lot about. We'll start with uncontrollable factors, kind of get those out of the way so you can focus your mindset on the things that you can control. Also, I apologize. I have poodles that I'm watching right now and they decided to get loud as soon as I needed to talk. So I might be
That's
kicking
okay.
them out
We
of the
can't hear
house.
them. We can't hear them.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so uncontrollable factors. These are things like physical maturity and then like how long you've been playing the game. You have to start somewhere, and your body has to start growing at some point. So some people grow faster than others. Some people start at younger ages than others. That's not something you can control, but the point is you have to start. And so the people who came to tryouts this year or who have been coming to Trinity and getting lessons, or they started club or things like that, you're taking that first step. This is Volleyball is so interesting because it's not like soccer. You just grow up and you start kicking a ball. There's so much more like complexities around it. Yeah, there are things you can do to make it more age appropriate, but when you get down to it, you just have to teach the skills like they are. They have to know how to hold their platform. They have to be in an athletic stance. They have to know how to make contact with the ball. It's not just letting a bunch of kids run around and kicking the ball. And then with the physical maturity, like I said, bodies are constantly growing and shaping. Some people are going to get those arm muscles a little bit sooner than others. Some people are going to develop the leg muscles sooner or later than others. That's not something you can control. And it's not something that we want our athletes to go into tryouts and say, oh, well, she's taller than me. She's stronger than me. She's more this, that, whatever than me. Go out and work for it. Your body is changing and you have, you just need, there's just a lot of time that you need to, can't you, sorry, I'm like fidgeting a little bit. You still have time. Your body is going to keep changing and your body's going to keep growing. Like you just keep working at what you can control, and then the rest will follow. And then moving into the controllable factors, this is what you can do right now, what you can absolutely focus on. You can focus on your volleyball IQ. That's something that you can start doing right now. Start understanding how the game works, understanding how different positions work on the court, how different people interact, who's the loud one, who's the quiet one, but the supportive one of others, who's the quarterback, as Coach Britt calls them, for the setter, understanding just really how the game works, how the court moves, and how you can strategize. So if someone's running this kind of defense, how can you run an offense so that you can score? Or if your opponent is taller than you, how can you work so that the ball is not just getting stuffed right at the net? Things like that. Now, the ways that you can improve your volleyball IQ are obviously watching more volleyball. And we are in an incredible time period where we have not one, not two, but three professional leagues currently that are televised pretty broadly. The PVF, the Professional Volleyball Federation, you've got the LOVB professional program. And I think there's another one called not Atlanta, Athletes Unlimited. And those are constantly happening. They just finished up the Love League and the PVF League, but there's always stuff on TV. They replay stuff. And then we have college volleyball. That's picking up a lot of pace too, especially with the Big Ten schools like Nebraska playing on the football field in front of thousands of fans. More ESPN time, more Sports Center time, things like that. Obviously we have high school ball. We don't have free games, but we have relatively priced games. So those are always available, and we are blessed to be in an area where there are a bunch of high schools within this Jackson County area. You can go to Jackson County High School. You can come to Jefferson. East Jackson's just a little bit further away. Winder Barrow's just a little drive away, things like that. So really just watching and diving into volleyball is the biggest thing. Making sure that you're talking to people who know the game. So being in situations like this, talking with myself or Coach Lawrence or any other coach really, and just really getting their feedback. And a lot of that IQ stuff, it'll come from just casual conversations. Yeah, you can do it and your body will pick up on it, but really like understanding what those movements are or what those key points are, those are really good things to do. Another thing that you can control is your strength. So how strong of a person are you? Like physically strong, like muscle strong. You can do volleyball specific workouts, but in general, just strength training is something that's really going to help you. But then also looking at strength and strengthening yourself, there's also a mental component to it as well. You have to have a very strong mental game in order to be a successful person, really. But in the sport of volleyball, it is very much a mental game. There's a lot of downtime, there's a lot of in between points. If you're going back to serve, you really have to get yourself in the best mindset to start the point off. If I would played, I was a middle, and there's a lot of running around in a circle for a middle. I have to keep my mental game focused for when the setter does set me a quick set, or if I am on the opposite side of the net and the setter on the other side sets it to the other side and I'm sprinting trying to get over there, I have got to be fully locked in and ready to handle that. So physical strength, yes, but mental strength as well. And that comes with recognizing your controllable and uncontrollable factors. The other things you can do if you don't have a net or if you don't have access to a court at all times, doing the things you can do at home, setting a ball up against the wall, passing a ball up against the wall. When I teach serving to younger players, I tell them to hold a ball up against the wall and literally just practice that hand contact movement. Either they're trying to squish a spider that's on the ball, or if they have someone that they want to picture their face against the ball, that's what we're doing too. Whatever helps focus on getting that good hand contact onto the ball. Those little repetitions, those little movements, they seem insignificant, but in the long run, the less you can think about those little moments, the stronger your mental game can be, the stronger your physical game can be. And then, of course, you obviously want more court time. You want the actual speed of a game. So playing doubles, triples, quads, or 6v6. This can come from being indoor and doing all the motions, or it can come from a beach court or grass courts. We're also, like I said, the game of volleyball is growing. So that means that there are more locations where we can play the sport that we love. We can obviously go to a gym, but what if we don't have access to a gym? There are beach nets everywhere. Like, it is something that is constantly popping up. They build more and more. There's some out in Gainesville. They have them in Athens. Off the top of my head, I can't think of the one in Jackson County, but they're here. I know they are. It's growing ever more. So putting yourselves in situations to show yourself that your mental game is improved, show yourself that your physical game is improved. That's really good as well. So if you were here today, I'm going to channel my inner Brit and read her words. You are hungry for the redirection or the changing of a mindset. And as Dorothy would say, to follow the yellow brick road. If you have been in the hands of Cheryl or Charles, we know that you are in very good hands because we have seen them come through the program. I had the privilege of interacting with them early in my coaching career, and I know that they are just pouring into y'all and helping y'all be equipped to control those controllables and create the mindset to offset some of the uncontrollable factors. But volleyball is ever growing, and it is a force. It really is. So the more that you expose yourself to it, the more that you stay engaged with it, the more improvement we will see. And I think that's my favorite part about tryouts this year. I will speak specifically about Jefferson. We have on all three of our teams this year someone in one capacity or another who either didn't make the team at one point or was on the team and got cut, and they came back and they were better for it. Like, they went out, they didn't just get complacent, they weren't satisfied with not making it. They went out, got better, and proved to themselves and to us that they kept working. And I saw that with a lot of Trinity volleyball girls. I saw that with a lot of girls who came up through the elementary school and just wanted to try it. They went through the rec department. They dipped their toe into club. They just kept getting better. And that has been one of my favorite things seeing this year is those girls who we were like, so close, so close. This year, you made us say yes. So I want y'all to have that moment. I want you to keep working and keep trying and keep reaching that goal. If this is the goal that you want, don't let anybody get in your way. Don't let a no get in your way. Don't let a rejection get in your way. You keep working for it if it's what you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is great advice and feedback. Thank you so much, Stephanie. And you know, from a parent perspective, we know that that's so true with not letting anything get in your way, because you know, our daughter Olivia was told that, you know, a lot of people told her she wouldn't play Division I because she wasn't, you know, your 6'3" middle. And she plays Division I ball as a middle, and a darn good one too. So thank you so much. I think Britt's still actually signed on. So if you're there, Britt, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we want to hop over to James Howard, who's with us. And James, I know some of the things that Stephanie just mentioned. I'm really looking forward to hearing your perspective. And of course, he is the consummate professor. He's got slides to share. We love it. We love it. So I think we can kind of only see part of your screen.
Coming up now? Okay.
Awesome.
Well, it is good. All right. It is good to be with you this evening. I have my title there is Keep Moving Forward. If you ever saw Meet the Robinsons, that's one of my favorite movies of all time, and mainly for that keep moving forward idea. So you've had a rough time. It may have been a couple of weeks ago now, but not making one of your objectives, it's going to hurt. And that's probably the best thing is, you know, you were really trying because it did hurt last week or 2 weeks ago. And the ability to let that hurt, go ahead and have some time of just taking that in and making it irritate you. But then how can you keep moving forward? So we're going to have 3 points and then talk about some goal setting. But a couple of weeks ago, you were squished. All right. So lack of a better word, you got a squish. You did not get what you wanted to have happen to make that team. And so we want to talk about mental resilience. So that is, once you're squished, what you going to do about it? Are you going to stay in that squished down position, or are you going to bounce back? So I'm going to play my beautiful little bit. Look at that. It got all squished. That was poor you right there, squished. That's not a round tennis ball. That is a squished ball. So first of all, you need to realize that those coaches who they didn't want to, but they squished you, it wasn't you that they were going after. This is not I am a bad person. They are not saying you are no good. They are saying, to these standards, whatever it may be, whatever position you may be in, but what are you going to do about it now, a couple of weeks later, and then going on? We need to have this mental resilience because, sadly enough, a lot of our time is going to be, if we put ourselves out there and try new things, a lot of our time is going to be failing. And then what are you going to do about it? Are you going to, let's look at our beautiful ball here, come back, and not only come back, but get into the right shape and go into places unknown, right? So you get your squish and you have that mental resilience and you rise up to the next new occasion. So we have our mental resilience. We want to come back from what we have failed at, what we have not been, in your case, making that team. And that is going to set us up for a stronger comeback. We're going to go even further, even harder, even higher. Second point I want to make is about that positive self-talk. Let it be, I can try, or I will try. It is not I am bad. It's me that's the problem, but it is, I will try this new thing to be able to go higher again next time, to have that resilience. Be able to have that inside your own head, that positive self-talk about any of our goals that we'll talk about later that do come out positive. What are the small things that went well, even during this last season in preparation for going out for your team? What did go well? What did they say? Hey, good job on that, even if it may not have ended up being, may not be making the team. And so we want to keep the positive self-talk and keep the negative self-talk, that silence that inner critic, telling your things are bad, things are worse, things are going to go bad, making that person shut up. And the best way to do that is by filling your mind with your positive attitudes, positive self-talk. So we had that middle resilience. We're going to bounce back even higher, even harder. We're going to have that positive self-talk. And then we need to have adaptability. You need to have the ability to, maybe it is pivot. Maybe it is this position on the volleyball team. Maybe I was made for that. Maybe that's what I like, but maybe this team needs another position filled. And so I might need to pivot in that way. Maybe it is, I need to pivot to, maybe it's a different sport. Maybe you haven't tried everything yet. Maybe you're physically or emotionally or mentally made for something different. Maybe it is, and you can certainly add on, you don't have to completely change, but in your academics, where are your strengths? Where are your weaknesses? And how can you adapt? Oh, isn't that beautiful octopus? He goes from all white to almost all black, adapting to the situation. So if we can keep our mental resilience, our positive self-talk, and then having that adaptability, we want to now talk about goal setting and using some of those ideas in our goal setting. And most of us have heard of SMART goals. That is, any of these goals that we're going to set, they need to be specific, as in right to the point, measurable. You need to be able to tell, yes, I did, or no, I didn't, at any point along the way. They need to be set attainably. So something that is within your reach. They have to be relevant to the topic that you're trying to get to the goal that you're trying to reach. And then they have to be time bound. By this time, I will do this, and I can tell yes or no, I didn't. So with these SMART goals, we kind of have 3 different levels. First one is the easy one. This is what we typically kind of stop at, is an outcome goal. So this is the big thing you want to achieve, even if, as Coach Price talked about, even if it's not completely under your control. So it may be make the volleyball team the next season. It may be get A's and B's next semester. It may be whatever the big goal is, that's called your outcome goal. The next level is a performance goal. These are markers that if we can reach these are shorter term, more of them. These are markers that if we can reach these, it's going to make it more likely that that outcome goal will come true. It'll be what we want it to be. So 2 different levels. And then the third level is our process goal. What kind of actions do I take, whether that be a physical, how I make my platform, or how I snap my wrist, but what kind of actions make a performance goal more likely? What kind of performance goals make the outcome goal more likely? And so every time you are on a court, in the library, wherever you're doing your actions, you have a reason for it. I'm doing this because it makes me more likely to reach my performance goal. That's going to make me more likely to reach my outcome goal. So I just want to set up a quick example. So if it happens to be next time volleyball team I'm going to try out for, what could we do? So the outcome goal, that's the big picture. I want to make the team. It may not be completely under my control. If I'm 5'6", wanting to play middle, and there's all these 6-footers, could be tough. But you still have that outcome goal. I want to make the team. So some performance goals. And here's where you really want to go back maybe to the coaches who had a look at you just recently and say, what do I need to do to get better? What could I improve? Just like Coach Price was talking about, what things could I improve to be able to make the team next year? So I just gave a couple of performance goals here. I need to increase my vertical jump to 20 inches. All right. If I did that, it would make it more likely that I'll make the team next year, my outcome goal. And another one, I need to get 90% of my serves in. All right. So both of those goals, and you may have more than that, quite a few more than that, but both of those goals lead directly to making it more likely you're going to make the team. You're going to hit your outcome goal. So then you go to the next level, the process goals. What is going to make it possible to increase my vertical jump by 20 inches? So hope doesn't get it done. You've got to have some actions. And so you want to get your vertical jump up. You're going to do plyometric workouts 3 times a week. There's some actual actions that will make it much more likely that you get to a 20-inch vertical. Or footwork and jump at a net or at a net height or whatever it might be 3 times a week. Those 2 actions, process goals, if I can hit those, it's going to make it more likely that I get a 20-inch vertical. It's going to make it more likely that I'm going to make the team next time. And for our getting the serves in, maybe your step toss and it falls, it's on target. So the ball's going to be in the same place every time, 90% of the time. Or in a conjunction with my overhead contact with that snap, hitting that, squishing that bug, or hitting whoever you don't like, snapping that with that serve with that snap. Okay, so we had those process goals about serving that make getting the serves in more likely, and that makes our final goal more likely. And each one of those can be divided up into, so if we have 30 months to tryouts, we've got 12 weeks to go. So for our performance goals, let's see, after 3 weeks of working out, 6 weeks after working out, then 9, and you got 3 more weeks before the actual tryout comes. So by the 3rd week, I'm going to get to 16 inches. If I have 17, whoa, I can celebrate, like we talked about, we can celebrate that positive self-talk. Or if I got 15 inches only, I need to catch up a little bit because by the 6th week, I need 18 inches. And by the 9th week, I need 19. That's going to lead me to have a 20-inch vertical by tryout time. I probably am not going to start off day 1 getting 90% of the serves in, but by week 3, I'll have 75%. Week 6, 80%. Week 9, 85%. I go to tryouts and 90% of my serves going in. What made those things possible? What actions in my process goals? Whenever I started doing my plyometric workouts, every time I just was bouncing on there 20 boxes for plyometrics. You can talk to somebody about your resistance training. The 3 weeks later, I was up to 30 times I was hitting the top of the box. 3 weeks later, I was up to 40 times. Doubled my work. That's why the vertical jump went up. Same thing with our footwork and jumps. With our step toss on target, the more likely that the ball is in the right place, the more likely you're going to have that good overhead contact with your snap. And so you go from 60% to 70%, 80%. That's going to make you more likely to get those serves in. All right. Anybody have questions?
That was great, James. Before we head into questions, I just wanted to, I think, pull out a couple of things that I heard you all say, which is, breaking down the goals, celebrating the small wins, because big wins are made up of a lot of small wins, and that's so important. And I have to tell myself that, even though I'm not a volleyball player, but I'm very ambitious. I always have big goals. And so I have to remind myself to, celebrate the little things along the way. And then it also reminded me, as y'all were sharing this amazing information about one of my One of my favorite Bible verses is Galatians 6:9, which says, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." So I think that kind of is the perfect kind of little bow on what each of you shared, is that reminder to, don't get tired of doing what you're doing. If you're on the right track, stay on the right track, because it will pay off one day. Awesome. So yeah, definitely want to take any questions that y'all have, and then Charles will wrap us up. Any questions? Go ahead and unmute yourself and just throw them out there. Don't everybody talk at once.
I was typing one, Cheryl, but I guess I can ask it. So for the coaches specifically, what are a couple of skills that you guys are looking for in players that our girls could work on this year? Like, is there a type of serve that you like better, or do you like girls that can forward set and back set? Is there just some specific skills that they can try and make sure they have mastered before the next tryout?
Yeah, I think it depends specifically on what age your athlete is. So middle school, we want them to have an overhand serve. We want them to have good foundations in platform passing and setter hands. And we want them to have the mechanics. And when I say mechanics, I mean just like the follow through of a swing for a serve or for an attack at the net. And then that gets a little bit more fine tuned the older that they get. Probably towards a high school level, we'd like them to be specific in a position. So setting, we would want that forward and backward setting. Attacking, we would want them to have their approach down and be able to control where the ball goes when they hit it. For that DS position, we would like them to be able to move well on their feet, staying low, getting their body underneath and body underneath the ball and their shoulders out in front. So it's a little bit more complicated than just me giving, we'd love for them to have their serve, but as this sport keeps growing, I would love to know like more specifics about where your daughter is or your athlete is, and grade level, age wise, position wise. So I could give you those specifics, but that's kind of a broad overview of what you would need.
Great, thank you. Great question, Amanda.
And actually, I do have a question for you, Coach. In regard to the tryout process, when you have athletes that have not made the team, is there typically feedback to those athletes, or do they need to reach back out to the coaches specifically for that type of feedback like you just provided? Like, how does that process work?
Yeah, so that's definitely something that I would encourage athletes more so, but parents definitely be a part of that conversation as well, of reaching back out to the coaches. We have had a couple middle school and high school athletes reach back out, and we give them specific feedback to what we saw at tryouts. We give them what Britt calls our foundation, what am I trying to say? Our foundational Bible of like cues and skills and things like that. We share that. So yeah, I would definitely recommend reaching back out to Coach Britt, myself, Coach Amber at the middle school, any of us. We'd be more than happy to help with that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions before we wrap up? Okay, so just as a reminder also, anyone who was not a guest speaker gets entered into our drawing to win a free 1-hour private training session at Trinity Volleyball Academy. So you'll be entered into that drawing, and we'll have a winner. What day is today? Thursday. We'll have a winner probably early next week. And I think that's it for me. So It's all you.
Okay, so what I wanted to do is just thank all our parents and athletes who are on tonight. I really appreciate you coming on and really kind of being a part of this process, particularly as it comes to the development of your daughter. As a player, as you know, Trinity Volleyball Academy, we are very invested in our athletes as players and as people. And so for us, these types of sessions are really important for us, that we provide these for you, because I think there are things that we can do as a company, but there's a lot of things that we aren't able to do, which is why we bring on the professionals who can really help to fill in some of these gaps, and help you as you help your children and your athletes to continue down that journey and that path of becoming better. So thank you all for being on. And then obviously, thank you, Stephanie. We really appreciate you being on, and James as well. And please thank Coach Britt for us. We are, as y'all know, we love y'all, which is why y'all are here tonight, because we really appreciate, one, how you serve, and two, just your passion for people, but also for players and athletes. And so it was important for us that people heard from you all tonight. So thank you for being on. And thank you, little furry baby there also.
Yeah,
showing
they're getting
tonight.
loud right now. Thank y'all for letting me step in for Britt. I know I'm not Coach Lawrence, but I appreciate the platform, because I think I love this idea of giving feedback in this way. This was great.
Yeah, what we would like to do is take this recording and continue to distribute this to a lot of our families within our program, because we think this is going to be super helpful for a lot of families, because there are a lot of families that are kind of looking for answers and looking for guidance on this next step. And maybe they couldn't be here tonight, but we want to make sure that they get access to this. So again, we appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. Okay.
Thank you much.
And just as a reminder, well, I guess no one on here needs to be reminded, I don't think. But if you have a friend, pass it along to a friend. But everyone gets to try Trinity Volleyball, a Trinity Volleyball clinic, absolutely free. We have a promo code. You can get it on our website. A full 90-minute skills clinic. So, that is something where people can try us out, feel it out, get to know us before they, commit to any further training. So pass that on to a friend, and just always here to give as much quality information as we can. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining. We wrapped up in 40 minutes, so y'all get some time back and have a great evening, everyone. Again, thank you so much. We are so grateful for your time.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you all.